Hey fam, how y'all doing? Candy cane chapstick. I know I sound kind of like, lab coat, y'all see this, right? We are going to do an experiment and I'm really hoping it works out for the best because either way is going to work out to something. And I did purchase a Fenty concealer. And y'all know sometimes I don't even use concealer. And I'm going to do one eye with the Fenty. And we're going to talk about why I picked the color that I picked. Because it's really just like, it's just, I understand it, but I don't understand it. So we're going to do one side with the Fenty and one side with Estee Lauder, which is the one that is perfect for this area. It is perfect for this area right here. But still my under eye, the discoloration shows through a little bit, which I'm fine with because this is just skincare and a Fenty brow pencil. I have under eye discoloration. This is my darkest patch, like right here, for whatever reason. And so I'm okay with some of my under eye discoloration showing through because to me that looks natural. And I don't know where this came from, where your under eyes need to be brightened. But it picked up traction, and so, you know, the trends are what they are. But I'm not about that life because it doesn't look natural for me. I'm going to do primer and foundation while I'm talking to you. The Milk Hydro Grip, we're going to do 2 lines on our palette. And we're going to do the Estee Lauder Double Wear Stay in Place Makeup. But we're using the one, I use shade 4 and 2. We're going to use the one that's in the Airless Pump. In the Fenty foundation, I didn't open up a new one because I finished it and the primer. Because I want to finish up the Estee Lauder. And I have this much of the Pat McGrath, and then Pat McGrath, I wear shade M18. So I want to finish up these two before I open up new ones of all of them. Oh shoot. Okay, I'm hitting stuff and stuff is just falling. So we're going to take 2 pumps of the foundation and just lay the line right on top of where the primer is. So it's been confusing for me because with Pat McGrath, they say what your foundation shade is, that's the concealer shade to get. But for me, it was not the right shade. It just made my under eye look more olive. And so then I tried a shade lighter. It was way too light. And I said, you know, and I think I tried, did I try a 3rd shade? I don't know. We're going to mix this together. And so I said, you know what? I'm going to just stick with the Estee Lauder because I don't like a lot of fuss. I don't like a lot of mess. And so sometimes, as you noticed, I don't even wear foundation. I don't even wear concealer because I really am pretty much okay with how the foundation covers my under eye area. And I don't feel the need to do all the things. And I should have did this before I started. I have wrinkles under my eyes. And so whatever I put under there, eventually it's going to crease eventually. And so I don't want to do a color corrector and then put on the concealer and then also possibly foundation under there, because the more stuff that's under there, the more stuff that's going to crease. And so I didn't do my intro, but if you heard it before, it's, you know, self-acceptance, self-love, embrace your natural features, enhancing them if you want to, when you want to, but never feeling like you have to. And so that's where it plays in for me, where I don't feel like I need to blank out my face and do all the things because that's what people are saying to do. This is what you need to do to get this look. This is what you need to do to get such and such look, excuse me. What's wrong with how you look? If you want to do all the things, by all means, because y'all know what eyeshadow looks. I'll be packing on like 7 shades between the lid, transition, lower lash line, and all of that. And it's fun. And makeup is not therapy, but it is therapeutic. And so I do understand like wanting to do all the things, but what I'm saying is don't feel like you have to. Like, who said, you know, your under eye needs to be blanked out? And yes, it may look better, but love yourself even without all the stuff. You know what I'm saying? So that's where I'm coming from. So because my Estee Lauder is almost done, like seriously, I said, instead of opening a new one, let me try, where the heck did I put? I said, let me just try the Fenty one. And what's ironic is when I wear the Fenty foundation, I seldom put on concealer because I like how it does cover my under eye area. A little discoloration shows through, but it is more even. Like even now, you still see some of my discoloration, especially here. But my face as a whole is even, and I should have pointed out all the other marks and stuff where I picked. And some you can still see, like up here. This I picked. I don't know what this is. There's a red thing that popped up over here. I don't know what that is. And I had a mark over here. So overall, just the foundation on its own, even though this is Estee Lauder, and I am talking about the Fenty too, like it covers enough. And the Pat McGrath. Pat McGrath foundation, because it is so very sheer, I do tend to put on concealer with that foundation. But Estee Lauder and Fenty, I seldom wear foundation. And so I'm like, why do I really want to try the Fenty? Because I really love the foundation. But it doesn't make sense because when I wear the Fenty foundation, I usually don't even wear concealer at all. So I'm like, am I just falling into the hype? And so I made a decision that if this color doesn't work, I'm going to return it. I'm not going to get another one. I'll just keep using the Estee Lauder because I know it does work for what I wanted to do. And so, but we're going to see. I also purchased another gloss bomb and another cream gloss bomb. But we're not using those this month unless we use it to top. Today is February 15th because we're doing a black lip with every look that we do this month. And it's going to be confusing because some of the videos won't air until March. And you're going to be like, why is she still wearing a black lip? Number one, it's my favorite lip color. So that's why we're going to be doing it. But Black History Month just gave me a reason to be like, yeah, what? You know what I'm saying? So anyway, so that's the foundation. We're going to, and you know what? And I meant to use the Scandinavia primer spray. I am going to weigh, I may either be gone or back by the time you see this video. But I wanted to try this today to make sure it didn't burn my skin, because if it didn't, I was going to take it with me. So maybe after I wash my face later today, I'll just spray it just to see how my skin feels. I don't know. So long time ago, the wand broke off, the little sponge piece, and so I just cut the whole thing off, and I used a lipstick applicator to scoop in here, and I am scraping, like this is almost done. We're going to put this on this side because this is my darkest patch. I want to see what the Fenty is going to do, and this is what I do for concealer. I don't do the whole thing. And the reason I chose, do I want to do, oh, shoot, and I do want to do a look, and I do plan on going out later, so I don't want to look crazy. So I'm not going to put anything around the face. So this is what we're going to do for concealer. We're just going to put it here. As I said, I wear shade 335 in the foundation. I swatched it on my hand. They didn't have any Estee Lauder. I don't know if they're phasing out of Ulta or what, but it was like slim pickings, and it was only like a few shades, you know, available. None of them was mine because my thought was to swatch it against this one to see how close the color was, even though this one doesn't completely cover, which I'm fine with. And so it just evens it out, like just enough. It's a little bit, and you still see some discoloration here, but it looks natural. And also because I usually put a gel pencil liner under there, I usually put eyeshadow under there, it camouflages it. And if I happen to wear my glasses, that camouflages it too. So I'm good with this right here. I'm good with this. And so I swatched the 335 Fenty on my hand, you know, and I'm standing, letting it dry. And it does oxidize a tiny bit when I wear it, but not a lot. And so then I swatched the 335 concealer. It was hella bright, well, hella light, and very peach. And so I'm looking at the foundation, and I'm looking at the concealer, and I didn't think till later that I should have took a picture when I was in Ulta. But I'm just like, no. Because when I try to brighten my under eye area, it makes it either look darker, or it looks more olive, or the discoloration just looks worse. Like it does not look good. And I know it's something with the undertones, but because my under eye has its own tone, like even now it's looking kind of greenish. Like this whole section looks kind of olivey. And so trying to put, you know, they say put a peach under there, like it does not work for me. Yeah, I've tried it. It doesn't work for me. So I said, okay, let me just swatch other shades to get one that's close to the foundation. Because even for the Estee Lauder, the concealer is just a hair. Well, Well, actually, I have one Estee Lauder foundation. So it's just a hair lighter than the concealer, just a little bit. But the Fenty one, and so it was confusing to me watching videos and people were, you know, swatching shades, picking a shade, and I would comment, what shade in the Fenty foundation do you wear? And, you know, some people answered back, some people didn't. And the ones that did, it seems like they're wearing 2 or 3 shades lighter. So like if they wore, like I wear 335 in the Fenty foundation, they would wear like 320 in the concealer or 315 in the concealer because they want to brighten. And I'm like, that, when I swatched it out, even though my hand is not the same shade as my face, I'm like, there is no way this light ass peachy shade is going to work with that, with my under eye discoloration. So I swatched a few shades and I got one that looked almost like the foundation. Because again, like this is even, my under eye is evening out with my face. There's a hint of brightening, but then by the time I put on powders and stuff, sometimes it looks a little darker. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like, So, and actually I'm going to take another brush because this one we have, I guess we probably still could use it, even though I had the Estee Lauder primer on, concealer on there. So it looked almost exact, maybe just a hair off. And so I want to see what this is going to look like under my eye. And if it makes me look like I have a black eye, it's getting returned, and I'm going to just stick with Estee Lauder. So the shade I got, remember I wear shade 335 in the foundation. This shade, and I don't have one open to like swatch it and show you. This shade in concealer, I wear 335 in foundation from Fenty. This is shade 360. This is shade 360. And even holding it next to the Estee Lauder, it looks just a tiny bit darker. But then the Fenty, it oxidizes just a tiny bit darker. So this was almost exact, just a hair off. So I really just want to see what it's going to do. So if you're like me and you don't want to brighten, or you do color corrector, then the concealer and all of that stuff, okay, that's one thing. But just putting this on over foundation, and I'm going to do the same thing. The PAO one, this is 6 months. The PAO for Estee Lauder is 24 months. And when I looked at the quantity, it's about the same. And so this is what, I should have just kept the lines for you to see what the lines look like. But you can see, if you remember, should I do another line? But you can, if you remember, it is a little different. So we're going to just tap this out because I just want just to even out. I don't want to necessarily brighten. And, you know, I stood there and I walked around the store because I wanted it to dry to see if it was going to oxidize. And so this is not the right shade because it's looking a little olive. And it's 360W, which is a warm undertone. The Estee Lauder 4N and in the concealer is neutral. So this is not the right shade for here. That is not the right shade because it's looking olive. And so you see what I'm saying? Like it's just, but this was the closest to the foundation shade that I'll wear. So between these two, I'm gonna put this around here to see what it does. But as far as under eye, it's not. And what I want you to consider and to remember is I wear 335. This is 360. So it's close to my complexion, but because my under eye has a different undertone because it's a different, you know, whatever, a different complexion. When most people are going down in number, I went up in number, and it's not the right shade. Like this, it looks good. Like this, it blends in, but when I look straight, that's when it's like, I still really see this hollow right here that I don't really see right here. You see what I'm saying? So it's not awful, but it's not the right shade. And I'm not going to try to make it work, so to speak. So I'm not going to do an eye look today because my face is going to be looking crazy. So we're just going to put this here because the Estee Lauder is perfect for this area of my face. I want to see what this is going to do because my thought is, well, the Estee Lauder is perfect for right here, which means this isn't going to be perfect because it's a different shade. Because my thought a moment ago was to just keep it for around my mouth area. But then I'm like, so this is not the right shade. Actually, it smells funny. That looks kind of good. But you know what? No. I like the Estee Lauder better because the Estee Lauder like actually blends in. Like if I just put it on in a thin layer, like how I did, because my entire mustache area sometimes looks real disrespectful. And by the time I blend out around my eyes, when I come down to here, sometimes you can't see the edges because where it's dried, it is literally my complexion. So no, it's not horrible for under eye, but it's definitely darker than this one. And part of me is thinking like I could get away with it. I'm doing this because of this mark right there. Because it is not horrible. And by the time I do powders and, you know, my under eye liner and eyeshadow and all of that, I do think it would be okay. But I don't want to, if I have something that works that I like, why bother with something else? You know what I'm saying? So that's where I'm coming from. This, I think, is leaning olive on me. And I do have some slight olive undertone. But this is bringing it out. This, to me, is starting to look green. But I do think, I might just go ahead and do the look because I do think I don't think it's horrible. We're just going to do this because we're going to do a look after this, and then I'm going to go out and do stuff. So, and the other shades, someone had commented that even though there's 50 shades in the concealer, when you get to the higher shades, I think they were saying there's less neutral undertones. And so that was the complaint that I heard, is that, okay, you have all these shades, but there's a huge gap between a higher number neutral undertone and a lower number neutral undertone. And so I don't know why that is, unless they think people's under eye are not neutral, because the Estee Lauder one was neutral, and you saw how that did just even out. So it's not horrible. And even looking at it here, this side still looks different, but it's because I have the Estee Lauder under here, where this is bringing out the olive, particularly here, and even looking here. And I'm taking my time because I'm seeing if it is going to oxidize, even though on my hand in the store it did not. But yeah, it's not horrible, but it's definitely leaning olive. And now I'm wondering, excuse me for smacking, is this leaning olive because, even I do have some olive in my undertone, because the foundation is neutral? Like, is that just making it do what it do? You know what I'm saying? So let me know what you think. I don't think this is horrible, but I also think it's bringing out the olive. Where this side, even over the Estee Lauder, which I do believe is because the Estee Lauder's under it, this side is more blending in with my actual skin tone and with my undertone. Like, I can definitely see a difference. I can say I am glad that I tried it because now I know. And again, it was just weird because when I wear the Fenty foundation, I usually don't even use concealer. So I'm like, why do I want to try this concealer? And I think it was just to have another option because the only concealer that I do use is the Estee Lauder. And I do use it up because it lasts at least 2 years. This one I had open about 1.5 years. And it's just almost gone. So I do use it up, whereas this is 6 months. It's supposed to be good for at least 6 months. So Yeah, this is looking like how my forehead usually looks before I put foundation on it, because my forehead does lean olive. Well, my chin does too, but not as olive as my forehead. But with the Estee Lauder on, it does balance everything out. And so looking at my face, this whole section from like here over is looking olivey. This area here and my chin, whereas the chin didn't look like that until I put this on. And this says it has a warm undertone, but again, maybe it's playing off of the neutral from the Estee Lauder. So let me know if you agree with my assessment. And even though I know my lighting is funky sometimes and this side will look darker or, you know, something like that, but this to me is definitely looking olive. This is definitely looking more olive, whereas it didn't before. So there is not a concealer for me in the Fenty line because the 335, as I said, was hella light, hella peach, and that. And when I looked at like the 340, 345, 350, 355, like they were also like super light. And when I swatched them against the foundation, it was just way off. This was the closest one, and this is pulling olive. And again, my under eye has its own undertone thing going on, and it's not horrible. But while I'm out today, this is going to be returned. And I'm going to just stick with the Estee Lauder. And so thank you for being here. I'm wondering if I want to put powder on right now, but I'm wondering if that's going to make it look a little bit worse. Because sometimes powder just... I'm opening my new fashion fair. So we're going to go ahead and just put on the powder. And this is brand new. So I got to take the cap off. Thank you for being here with me. I didn't intend to do all of this. I just wanted to see what this concealer was going to look like. And I'm glad that I did do it in comparison to my go-to, the Estee Lauder one. I'm trying to peel this, the plastic off. So I'm going to tap some into the lid. This is Fashion Fair Set It Loose Powder Truly Tawny, which is my complexion. So I put some in the cap, turn and tap the brush, and we're going to just tap this on the face just to set everything. I can say like it didn't crease any more than other concealers crease because it's supposed to be transfer, crease, sweat, all the resistance. And so I can say like it's not looking like it had really creased. Over time it would though, because I have wrinkles like you see this. And so the claims were good. I was intrigued and I've tried it. And it is not the right shade. And looking at the other shades, it's not the right shade. It took me for them to extend the line to even have a foundation shade. Because they matched me to 310. It was way too light. 330, oxidized. And it was like super red. Why does this seem like it's not blending with this concealer? Because I don't have a problem with this powder. This ain't right. This is not right at all. My chin is looking so olive, which is not a problem, but that's not how it normally looks. I mean, to a certain extent, but once I put, you know, the concealer on, not the concealer, the foundation, it evens everything out. This, no. Look at this compared to this. Even though my neck and face are not the same shade, but look how golden this is. And look how olivey that looks. This is not the concealer for me. I am glad I tried it. So now I won't know. I just bought it a couple days ago. So it's going back. No, because it was delivered. So I ordered it, a few days ago. Oh, because it came pretty quick. So this is not, no, this is not it. And my under eye is looking really olive under here too. So yeah, so if you're like me and you don't necessarily want to brighten your under eye area and you already do have your perfect shade in the Fenty foundation, you may have to go up a couple numbers. Go up a couple numbers because I wear 335. This is shade 360. And It's not horrible, but it's just a tad too olive for me. And it's supposed to have a warm undertone to it. So that is interesting. So that'll be it for this video. So let me know if you agree with me that it's too olive. Let me know also if you like to brighten your under eye, or do you just want it to be more even. I do really like how this side looks, and I think it's because I have the Estee Lauder under here. Like, this to me is just evened out with my skin until you get down to here, because then it just looks green. So that part is kind of weird. But by the time I do bronzer and all of that stuff, I do think it'll look okay for me to go out and do what I need to do. But yeah, this side I'm really liking. And I mean, you still see my wrinkles, but it's not creased. And so I do like that, because the Estee Lauder is full coverage and it will crease. And everything does eventually. But I'm liking this side. I really am. But I don't want to put 2 concealers under here. You know what I'm saying? I really do like this side. But I liked it before too. But it's just something. And this side is just looking green. I'm going to go, because I'm sitting here just looking at myself like trying to figure this out. But I think we have figured it out. So just let me know if you agree with my assessment that it's not right and it does look olivey and it's bringing out the olive down here. And let me know also, do you brighten your under eye area, or do you just want to just even out your entire face? And so those are the questions. Let me know also if you've tried it. I can say I do like how it feels. It felt really lightweight. It didn't feel heavy. The Estee Lauder, that being full coverage, it is thicker than the Fenty, but it doesn't feel like I have a weight under my eyes. And then once I blend it out, you know, I forget that it's there. But this is a lighter texture. It didn't feel heavy at all. You saw it blended out fine, but then so did, you know, the Estee Lauder. But let me know if you're curious about this, if you're interested in it. My under eyes are not burning. That's always a bonus with my sensitive skin as. So yeah, I'm not having any tearing, no itching, no burning. So that's a good thing too. And so if you have sensitive skin, or you think your skin may be like mine, because all sensitive skin is not the same, then yeah, I would recommend you try it. I do recommend, if you just want to even your face, swatch your foundation, whatever foundation you use. If they have it at Ulta or Sephora, swatch the foundation, or swatch your concealer you use if they're your perfect matches, and then go and swatch the Fenty concealers and see what it looks most like. That's my recommendation. Instead of purchasing like 3 or 4 because you don't know which one is going to match, if possible, go into the store. And they do have a shade finder on the Ulta website for this, but it was telling me like shade 310, and I'm like, oh hell no. Because I knew that was going to be hella light. And so it can be confusing in a way if you just want to even out your face and not brighten. Or if you don't have under eye discoloration, you can just brighten and it's not going to be an issue. But for some of us, and I've heard other people say it too, when they try to brighten, it just looks worse. The under eye discoloration just looks worse. It looks greenish. It looks grayish. You know what I mean? And so my suggestion, my recommendation is, if you have a perfect shade in your foundation or concealer, go into the store, swatch it, and then swatch out the different concealers from Fenty and see which one closely matches your perfect matches. I think that'll be your best bet in finding a shade that you want. If you use a concealer that brightens and you love it, swatch that and then swatch against this one. If you just want it to match the rest of your face, swatch your foundation and then swatch the concealer. So that's my recommendation. It does feel nice. It doesn't feel cakey. I'm not noticing any additional like creasing other than what I would normally have. And so I do like it. You still see my wrinkles, but nothing is settling in on either side. And so I recommend it if you can find your shade, but also I'm not going to say, you know, keep trying different ones. You know, you're trying 3, 4, 5. No, if you have a concealer that you like I have this one, this is going back and I'm not trying another shade because I already have this. And so I was really just curious. And sometimes, you know, we do want options, but if you have something you love, stick with it for the most part. So that'll be it. Thank you for being here. I am glad that I tried it though. So now I won't be wondering like, well, what if, you know what I mean? How we do. So thank you for being here. I have some new subscribers. I see you. I appreciate you. If you've been here before and you're not subscribed, I would love for you to do so. There's a whole lot of links down below. And I was going to start singing. I got Tanya on my mind talking about, oh, she's singing. Yeah, lots of information down below. Lots of content to browse through. Lots of playlists. Lots of stuff. And so feel free to just hang out. I appreciate it. I appreciate you. We didn't do the intro, but as always, self-acceptance, self-love, that is the Crazy Troll Nation way. Thank you, and you will see me soon.